I see a lot of people in the SME world crying about a lot of taxations. You've not made any profit, but taxes you're paying are quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
Encouraging innovation. Innovation comes in when you're in the right environment, I can say. Once there is innovation, there is going to be job creation and increased purchasing power of the citizens.
Do you aspire for a booming middle-class economy? Listen along to understand what turns the wheels of Uganda's economy with our line of incredible influencers in their fields.
If you hear me call out patriots, just know those are the patriots. Those are the listeners of this podcast. They're the ones who want to make a difference in Uganda. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the podcast. On Uganda, we are on the segment on marketing, where we bring to you change makers, trailblazers, and Uganda's top marketers or communicators who lead amazing brands. Today, we have an amazing Aggrey Bwaita. He's the marketing and communications officer at Healthy Entrepreneurs. I love this brand. I was excited when I saw his name on the list. You're welcome, Aggrey. How do you feel?
Well, thank you. I feel great to be here, honestly. And I really can't wait to share what I prepared for the audience and for the listeners. Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm really fascinated with brands that work within communities, advocating for health and wellness. We want to get to know you, Aggrey. Since this is a marketing podcast, how did you get into marketing?
My journey into marketing has been an interesting one, if I'm to be honest to the listeners.
Yeah.
My journey started as a passion of connecting with people. I'm quite extroverted, and from high school, I realized I'm so quick at making people understand my point. The impact of communicating in shaping the public perception made me realize young people, we fail to differentiate our gifts and passions. So most times we focus on passions and forget to discover our gifts. Through talking to many people, it helped me to realize that actually I'm quite gifted in that area of convincing people, but also making people fall in love with things around them in society. That's what shaped my journey into marketing. Also, COVID played a part because when COVID came in, I really had to look around what I could do. And I explored the area of digital marketing, which I fell in love so much. Hence, me entering into what I am right now.
I checked you out on LinkedIn and it said that we both worked at MTN. I'm so excited when I hear of community. You talked about community just now. What excites you from creating impact within your initiatives?
What really inspires me or really fascinates me about the work I do and the impact it makes, it is the ability to change people's perception, also to drive positive impact. Looking at the area I'm working in, that's public health. I communicate for people and for all of the brands I work with.
Yeah.
They use a model that is 100% rural focused. That's why if listeners is critical, you've never seen a billboard talking about health entrepreneurs in Kampala. It's not by mistake that maybe we don't know that we don't have a big market in Kampala. It's on strategy. If you hear Pilgrim Africa is the biggest organization that fights malaria in Uganda, working closely with the Ministry of Health, supporting all the ministry's initiatives. But you've not seen a billboard advertising Pilgrim Africa. We focus on people that we want to impact than us making noise out here. If you go in rural areas and you speak about health entrepreneurs, if you speak about Pilgrim Africa, I'm sure they will tell you the kind of relationship they have had with us and the kind of impact we have made to their lives. That's what really fascinates me and keep inspiring me.
You make a valid point there. I think the politicians or people in politics should pick a leaf, because I remember going around the country during a certain campaign, and people in the rural areas where a majority of our population live, these people don't know about any other presidential candidate apart from Museveni. For those who really want to penetrate politics, you need to go to the rural areas, just like Aggrey is mentioning, where the target audiences are.
Exactly. Another thing that fascinates me is marketing like betting. You're never sure on what is going to work. But regardless, even if you're trying it out, it requires a lot of investment. I always tell brands, if you're not ready to invest, don't try marketing. Marketing is expensive. Sometimes you develop even without knowing, are the people I'm developing this for, would they understand? But when you reach the market or the field and actually implementing, you see what you exactly planned coming to life. and yielding return on investment. That makes me feel good about the work I'm doing and the impact it's making in community. Majorly, it being health related. If it was the FMCGs or these persuasive adverts, it is quite easy. I'm comparing to get money out of your pocket. But here we're speaking about people's emotions. People have been frustrated with malaria. You have to take a campaign that is going to speak the emotion is to think like you. Because for some of us are elites and we are able to make sense of the thing, but you're speaking to someone who has never gone to school, who does not even make sense of washing their hands, but you need to change their perception and mindset.
Right. So I'm glad that also fascinates you. Now, to bring it down to that person you're talking about, how would someone approach spreading the word about their initiative whose audience is predominantly rural? You talked about it. You don't have your billboards within the city centers. Help us understand these audiences better.
I would say the strategy for rural areas is quite dynamic, but the core is the leadership structure. If you're to penetrate it with a rural strategy.
Okay.
I would give an example of the Teso region. They have a very organized leadership, majorly the church structure. The Catholic Church is very strong in the Teso region. If you don't have the church on your side, it is very hard to penetrate your target audience. However much you have developed, however much money you have in your campaign, it could be hard for you to make these people believe in your campaign or in your strategy. Understanding how different regions play out on the culture side, on the religious side, also on the social side. Even political leaders have a part to play. You need to interest them in what you're doing so that they are able to support you. I think that's one of the best strategies for the rural communities.
I think that also applies to politics because you have these political leaders go to funerals and churches. Elections are coming up. You'll see a lot of people go to barrios and churches just so they can put their message across.
Very true.
What's fascinating for you about healthcare? What are the opportunities you see from a communications perspective, but also as an individual who has been in this? How long have you been in healthcare?
About 3 years now, but in the marketing field, making 6.
What are the trends in healthcare you're noticing?
In healthcare, people are getting more concerned about their health and the general well-being of the communities. Because in my communications, I communicate to what in Uganda we call VHTs, village health teams. They are one of our key stakeholders in disseminating our information. You realize that one of the key things that increase is being able to increase the access of information through use of the mobile and the digital platforms. The rural communities are adopting to the technology to be able to use them to access useful information. It's one of the things that really make me feel like that's a good opportunity for me to really keep pushing.
Isn't that challenging, you predominantly working with rural people?
I would say it's a positive challenge because in marketing, where there is no challenge, there is no creativity. Personally, if I really have to just market to the Kampala population, it would be quite obvious. But with rural communities, I'll have to go beyond the owner. Like I need to interest them to use things like WhatsApp instead of using their phone just to chat. I've interested a total of 15,000 community health workers to be active on WhatsApp. I have a campaign where I'm working. Imagine 15,000 people on WhatsApp for a reason, not just to waste their data, but they know that every day at this time I expect a message and I have to read this message. And this message is about health.
What's the message normally about? For example, this week,
we are teaching them about nutrition.
Okay.
We are so much on prevention. If your body is fed with the right nutrition, there are a lot of diseases we can prevent other than waiting to treat. Telling them, let's prevent instead of treating. So we push them with the right nutrition products, the right nutrition practices, and then also teach them about...
Wait a minute. Do you know what it will take for Uganda to achieve a middle-class economy by 2040? Please send us an email at onuganda@gmail.com.
Their skin. We are pushing nutrition and then the skin. So telling them using lotion is not for the town people alone. Even you in your village, after your garden, you can take a shower and apply some lotion on your skin. Basic information, but it's really important for the health of our communities. Those are some of the things that I'm using to really the impact.
Okay. I understand that in healthcare, communications is really focused about the humans behind these statistics, like the statistics you mentioned in malaria, or if it's Ebola or an outbreak like there was Corona. What really then drives your passion? Because you gathering the 15,000 rural people or villagers to actually be active on WhatsApp, which they predominantly wouldn't have. What drives your passion for giving back? Or for pushing or working within these communities?
On behalf of the brands I work with is majorly their vision. Health Entrepreneurs is not Ugandan founded, it's a Dutch. But the fact that the vision is focused at bettering the life of an African and me, it really gives me like, which part can I play in this vision or in supporting this vision so that it doesn't die at this early stage, but at least it brings a bit of sustainability. And then another passion is I'm working for my people. If I don't do the right thing, if I don't help them really understand the messages I'm giving them, make sense of them, then I'm really not doing a disservice to my country, but also to my people. That's why I have a community where I come from, and in my community are not only rich people, they're also struggling people.
Yeah.
So that's what personally drives me. They urge you to change my community. I'm a regular user of the internet, and I see old people on internet enjoying life, but these are always Bazungu. But I would love to see a Ugandan who is 80 years and is very strong at the beach because they have good health.
Healthy Uganda, wonderful. That's really dear to the heart because I'm also passionate about Uganda. And I guess without a healthy population, we don't have a thriving middle class economy. So in that regard, what opportunity, if there's an investor who's listening in right now, if there's a young entrepreneur who is focused on the health sector, what should they know about the opportunities in communication?
I can say there are unlimited opportunities. First of all, if you want to venture into communications, let me say PR or marketing, the biggest thing is to connect, because you market to people, not animals. By all means, you have to connect with these people. There is a saying that if you help many people to get what they want, then you have everything you want in life.
Okay, break down the connect. It sounds heavy.
In the marketing field, there are professions that you're going to get to meet. And marketing is a department that works with literally with every department in an organization. Let it be HR, let it be finance, let it be anything. And in any field, when you're into marketing, you can work in any field. Personally, I'm not a medical person. I'm not a doctor by profession. I'm doing communication for the medical world. I'm not a banker, but I've done communications for the banking world. I'm not a manufacturer, but I've done communication for the manufacturers, cement, all those things. You get to learn a lot of things that is really good for us. And for people who are just starting out, I would advise someone to start like agencies have rich experiences. Me, I started out in an agency, and that's why I was able to really collect a lot of experiences. That was Nomad Advertising at Ariho Kamara.
What was it like for you?
It was interestingly challenging because it was a roller coaster. You get to know that business is business. People have expectations, and you really have to keep up to the expectations. By then, I was leading the digital side of the agency, digital marketing. And I really got a chance to understand, once you accept to work with a brand, they expect you to know about them. You don't tell them, yeah, I'm not a banker. You need to go and read about banking to be able to do the right communications for them. I worked with Hima Cement under the agents. I had to go and read about cement and all that information.
Yeah.
To be able to do the right communication, but also understand their audience. Because if you don't know what builders need, you're going to be doing the wrong things. Agencies are good for experience.
That is true.
Many people who are starting out in marketing.
You're working on a broad client base as opposed to one. Before we go to a few campaigns you probably have found interesting on your marketing journey, is there something you've taken on to everywhere you've been from your first experiences marketing? Is there a skill or an attribute you've carried on from the agency side to say the job you're holding today?
Yes. And to be exact, it's branding. Branding starts with you, and then networking, at least those two.
Okay.
Networking and branding. But if I'm to contextualize this, you as an individual, what is going to get you an opportunity in your career or your next opportunity is how you brand yourself and how you network with the people you meet.
Yeah.
In marketing, you're not going to find a defined audience or a target audience. There's a philosophy I really adopted, and I've kept it with me for some time. Talking to strangers, people don't have opportunities for you. You must talk to as many strangers as possible. That's one thing I've really taken everywhere I go. I'm this social person who will approach everyone to make sure I succeed.
You worked at an agency, you alluded to working with a cement company, a bank. What are some of the campaigns that have really stuck in your mind? This could be campaigns that you worked on personally or campaigns you've admired from afar and you thought, I really wonder who was behind that campaign.
Okay, I have some that I've worked on myself, and then I also have some that I've had, and I wish I could get a chance to be part of this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I would really be happy, just my name to be tagged.
Okay.
But if I'm to start with those I've had, the first one was the Coca-Cola We Share campaign that Test the Feeling.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
that's
quite
the
interesting.
favorite. That's the favorite of some guests that we've hosted here.
It is something that up now I remember the song they used, which is not so common of me. I easily let go of things, but that was one campaign that stuck in my mind, and I keep on. Remember that song,
Share
No
the
One Can Stop the
feeling.
Feeling. I've had a lot of campaigns that are interesting, but they really just stay for a short while. MTN has had a number of those, Bosco, all that. I feel like for Coca-Cola, going in a supermarket and you find a Coke with your name, even if you don't take soda, you buy it and take it for a kid at home. Those I've worked on myself. The biggest is a health campaign, and it was for health entrepreneur. It's called Know Your CHE. It's called Know Your Community Health Entrepreneur. It was an awareness campaign. It was my first campaign to implement when I joined the Health Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Up to now, I would say people we worked with still call to ask when are we going back.
What was it about?
Because it was us helping the village health teams connect with the people they serve in the community, but also to build trust for the community that these are trained and well-trusted healthcare providers in their community that they can trust it with privacy, with consultation, but also they have a well-trained group of doctors behind them. They are not working in isolation, because remember, village health teams, these are volunteers that just volunteer in their communities to provide the government with the information about any outbreak or any weird disease that comes up. When we come, we give them this training. Some of them have their backgrounds. Maybe their family background is not quite interesting in the community. And you have to convince the community to accept this person that actually they are not what they thought. They have received their training and they are qualified to do what they are doing. They do sales, and the sales after the campaign were really interesting. We had about 80% sales increase after the campaign.
What was the duration of the campaign?
The campaign was a 1-month campaign, and we measured the increase in sales. There was an 80% sales increase for the next 4 months. The other campaign I worked on was the We Power campaign with the Uganda batteries. I got a chance to work with Ankomo. We were running that campaign, and it was also interesting because those were my areas of marketing, where I was so eager to know how it is going. Ankomo was really so popular on social media, so I was at least my name is being tagged along with it. Brought a bit of satisfaction on my side.
2 more questions left. I really want to know, if you had the power to change one thing in this country, what would it be? You're a leader or you're just someone with all the resources at their disposal. What would it be that you would change and why?
If I had the power, like a political leader, the best I can change is maybe the immediate family. It's great that has gone. There's a number of things that have gone wrong, and it's hard to change.
Okay, that's fine. We have a golden question we ask every guest that comes onto this podcast, Aggrey. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The World Bank projected that Uganda is going to achieve a middle-class economy by 2040, where people are able to access good healthcare. People have minimum wage. There are good schools. All the schools are on the same standard. that people are able to afford their food. What do you think it will take us to get there? Because the World Bank projected that we'll get there in 2040. Some of our people here are saying we're already there, but we know for sure we're not there yet because we see the potholes, we see the state of the hospitals in your industry. What do you think it's going to take for every Ugandan to be able to afford healthcare, the healthcare that you envision?
If I'm to speak from the entrepreneurial side of things, I'd say one of the things that would really fasten our journey to middle class economy is if government can really learn or adopt the culture of supporting SME, small and medium enterprises, because the backbone of all middle class economies is the SMEs, even if we are to make research. I was reading somewhere and they were telling me that Uganda has one of the youngest population in the world. Another interesting is Uganda has one of the highest number of entrepreneurs that are beginning. A lot of small companies, what kills them is lack of support from the system. Let me say the government. There are no system to really make these SMEs survive for the first 6 months in the economy.
What kind of support would you think small businesses would have? Just recently, government launched the Grow Fund, specifically women to be able to inject into their businesses. What kind of support are you talking about, just so we are clear?
I'm talking about things like access to credit. Thank God you've mentioned that they launched that fund. I've seen it on social media. Then favorable regulations. I see a lot of people in the SME world crying about a lot of taxations. You've not made any profit, but taxes you're paying are quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
Encouraging innovation. Innovation comes in when you're in the right environment, I can say. Once there is innovation, there's going to be job creation and increased the purchasing power of the citizens. We shall have also increase in the demand of the products. Then I think we shall be good to go in the middle class economy.
If I had you here 5 years after today, what do you think will have changed? What does the future of healthcare communications look like, or healthcare advocacy look like?
I think we will have a more informed population in Uganda, a better health goal, because people will be more aware of what they are doing with their health and why they are doing that. Where I stay, I see a lot of increase in people who are going to gym.
I really love seeing people running on the streets, although you wouldn't catch me running on the streets, only if it's a gazetted marathon. But I'd love to see very active people on the streets of Kampala. It's just motivating.
I'm a big fan of running. Every weekend I do 12 kilometers run.
I feel like if I ran on the streets of Kampala, you'd find me in the ditch the next day because people just drive in a crazy way that I don't feel so safe on the streets. I feel like someone would run me over and no one would be able to see me until the next day because my sister's friend, she went out for a run and she didn't come back home. The next day, she was found in a trench, and just because she was run over while she was jogging the night before. I think that for me just changed my perception on running, but otherwise, I'm happy to do it in a more gazetted place.
Sorry about that. I am also a bit cautious about where I run. I have stretched mapped out to route that I've really got, and it's quite safe for the time I've used it.
That's great. Aggrey, where do we find you if we wanted to follow up on this conversation?
The easiest, LinkedIn. I'll always reply. WhatsApp, phone call. But the truth is, I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's very hard for me to miss a message.
Great.
But I'm very active on WhatsApp too. If you text me on WhatsApp, I'm available. I'm comfortable to give out my WhatsApp because at least I know you can.
We'll put it in the show notes so that people can text you if they want to follow up from there.
My WhatsApp is 0778680781.
Thank you so much, Patriots, for tuning in. Aggrey, thank you so much for making time this Tuesday evening. You could have been doing something else, but you decided to come here and share your insights with us, and we will forever be grateful. I hope the listeners enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I hope you continue breaking boundaries, inspiring people, and making positive impact in this world.
Thank you too. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm always available to share with the fellow youths out there. It's a pleasure to be hosted on this podcast.
And thank you for listening in this far. I really hope that this conversation was helpful to you. Share this episode with your colleagues or friends that you think will benefit from this information. Let them know what you're listening to. Would you also rate our podcast? Because once you rate our podcast, other people like you are able to listen to this information and use it to their own benefit. On a lighter note, follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We really would love to hear your